what would it actually mean, like really mean, to be a perfectly good person? Especially in a world like ours, which is, well, let's face it, deeply imperfect.
Yeah.
That's a huge question, right? Welcome to the Deep Dive. We tackle big ideas by digging into the best sources we can find. And today, that's exactly the question we're looking at, through the lens of a real classic. We're diving into Fyodor Dostoyevsky's incredible novel, The Idiot. We've pulled together some really fascinating takes on it, sources that shed light on the core ideas, the unforgettable characters, and why it still resonates so much today.
Exactly. The Idiot. It came out way back in 1869, and it was Dostoyevsky's, well, incredibly ambitious shot at picturing just that a perfectly good man.
Sure.
Trying to figure out how someone like that could even exist in society. It's quite an experiment in fiction.
It really is. And our goal with this deep dive today is basically to give you a shortcut, a way to get the essence of this pretty complex masterpiece. We want to pull out the most important bits, the key takeaways, so you can appreciate its genius without, feeling totally bogged down. So get ready for maybe a few aha moments, because this is where it gets really interesting. Okay, so maybe we should start with the man himself, Fyodor Dostoyevsky. It's just remarkable how he explores the human condition. I mean, his own life was so intense.
Oh, absolutely.
And you feel like that intensity just bleeds right into his writing, doesn't it? That distinct style. So psychological, so human.
Definitely. And you have to remember the context. When The Idiot came out, 1869, Russia was churn. It was churning, socially, philosophically, everything was in flux. Dostoevsky was always plugged into that, the sort of moral, spiritual vibe of the nation. And he went into The Idiot with this almost audacious goal: show us a perfectly good man.
Which sounds simple, but isn't.
Not at all. The challenge wasn't just showing goodness, but showing it realistically. Not as some simpleton, but as someone whose goodness would inevitably collide with the world, be tested by it. He really wanted to see if that kind of figure could actually survive.
Wow. That's a massive undertaking for a writer.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's step into the novel's world. Can you give us the high-level plot? No spoilers, of course. We start with Prince Lev Myshkin. He's our main guy. He's coming back to Russia, right?
That's right. After years away in Switzerland at a sanatorium, he was being treated for what they called a nervous ailment, likely epilepsy. And he arrives back in St. Petersburg with this incredible openness, almost like a child's innocence.
So he steps back into Russian high society.
And it's like he's landed on another planet. He's immediately sucked into this whirlwind of intrigue, passion, social maneuvering, stuff he just barely understands.
He sounds completely unprepared.
Utterly. And he quickly gets tangled up in these really intense relationships. The big ones are with two very different, very captivating women. There's Nastasya Filippovna, incredible beautiful, but with this tragic, scandalous reputation.
Okay.
And then there's Aglaya Epanchin. She's from a prominent family, very intelligent, fiery, spirited.
Two very different women.
Completely. And his relationships with them and with the other members of this, calculating society, they constantly put him in these impossible moral spots. So the real core struggle, the heart of the novel, becomes Myshkin just trying to live compassionately, trying to be pure-hearted in this world that's so morally messy, so corrupt, often.
And he's the idiot of the title. Prince Lev Myshkin. That's such a provocative name for a book. As you read it, you're constantly thinking, what does idiot really mean here? Is it just naivety?
Or is it something else?
Yeah. Or is it that his goodness is just so radically out of sync with everyone else's cynicism that they call him an idiot?
That's exactly the question Dostoevsky forces you to grapple with. It's crucial. But Myshkin, he's not in a bubble. The novel really ignites because of the characters around him. Each one seems designed to pull out different aspects of human nature and society.
Okay, so tell us about them. You mentioned Nastasya Filippovna.
Right. Nastasya, she's mesmerizing. Her beauty is almost legendary, but it's tied up with so much suffering. A really destructive self-loathing, too. She's kind of both a victim and a force of destruction, a femme fatale.
Complex.
Very. Then you have Aglaya Epanchin, who's almost her opposite. She's intelligent, proud, full of life, but she's also fascinated by Myshkin in this really complicated way. She tests his ideals, almost intellectually challenges him.
Interesting contrast.
And then, you absolutely cannot forget Rogozhin.
Rogozhin, right.
He's pure passion, intense, almost primal. His connection to both Myshkin and Nastasya is this dark, powerful, almost faded thread running through the whole book. His nature is incredibly destructive.
Sounds intense.
It is. And then you have figures like General Epanchin, Aglaya's father. He sort of represents the establishment, that formal, often hypocritical high society that Myshkin just walks into so innocently. They act as a mirror, showing just how different Myshkin is. What's really fascinating, I think, is watching these personalities just clash and weave together. It lights up the whole social fabric Dostoevsky is putting under the microscope.
It sounds like a recipe for, well, for drama, at the very least. These interactions must be explosive. So what are the big ideas? What's Dostoevsky really trying to get us thinking about by throwing these people together? What's the philosophical core?
Yeah, that's where it gets deep. A huge theme is definitely innocence versus corruption. You have Myshkin's almost Christ-like purity constantly bumping up against cynicism and manipulation. And Dostoevsky makes you ask, is this innocence strength? Or is it actually what makes him incredibly vulnerable, maybe even leads to tragedy because the world just can't handle it?
Right, it can't compute.
Exactly. Which leads straight into the next big theme. Morality in a flawed society. It's not just that being good is hard. Dostoevsky shows how society often twists it, misunderstands it, sees genuine goodness as foolishness, maybe even as a threat.
Because it exposes their own hypocrisy.
Precisely. Then there's the whole exploration of the destructive nature of obsession. You see that powerfully through Rogozhin, his love for Nastasya. It's not just strong emotion, it's fervent, almost pathological. A terrifying force. It shows how unchecked passion can become this, inescapable prison and a catalyst for utter destruction.
So passion itself isn't the problem, but the obsession is.
Right, the inability to let go, the possessiveness. And underlying all of this is the huge conflict between idealism and reality. Myshkin comes in with these pure intentions, this boundless compassion, but they just smash against the hard realities of human selfishness, societal rules, the messy world we live in. It forces you, the reader, to confront whether pure ideals can ever actually work in the real world. Which really brings up that critical question. Can pure goodness actually survive? Can it thrive? Especially in a world that seems actively hostile to it.
It's such a powerful tension he sets up, and it's not just the story and characters, right? His actual writing style is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Dostoevsky's way of telling the story is just incredibly powerful in itself. How does he pull that off? What are the artistic choices he makes?
Oh, he definitely has a unique touch. His style is famous for its deep psychological realism. He doesn't just tell you what people do, he takes you right inside their heads. Their chaotic thoughts, their conflicting motivations, he lays it all bare.
You feel like you're right there with them.
You do. He uses internal monologues, these really intense, almost feverish dialogues, vivid descriptions of their inner turmoil. It makes the characters feel startlingly real, even when they're acting in extreme ways. He also weaves Christian imagery throughout the book. It's not always overt, but it's there. It highlights Myshkin's Christ-like qualities, the suffering, the compassion, the sacrifice, and it deepens the themes of redemption, judgment, salvation, damnation.
So it adds another layer of meaning.
Absolutely. And ultimately, his work, especially The Idiot, is just this profound exploration of the human soul. He probes its depths, its contradictions, its light, its darkness. That's really the hallmark of Dostoevsky.
It really makes you think. I mean, would we even recognize true goodness if it showed up today? Would we call it idiotic? So, bringing it to the present, what does all this mean for you listening right now? How does a novel from 1869 still hit so hard?
Well, its relevance is just striking. The moral questions Myshkin struggles with, they're timeless. How do you stay good when the world seems to reward the opposite? How do you love unconditionally? How do you forgive real harm? We still wrestle with all that.
We really do.
And his critique of social hypocrisy, the judgments, the labels, the ways society puts people in boxes that feels incredibly current. Sharper than ever, maybe.
You see that everywhere.
And of course, just the portrait of goodness itself. What does it actually look like? What impact does it have? Sometimes wonderful, sometimes maybe destructive on the people around it. It's a powerful mirror for us to look at our own values, our own society. If you connect it to the bigger picture, I mean, the questions The Idiot raises about human nature, about compassion, about the sheer difficulty of living virtuously, they're just as urgent now as they were over 150 years ago.
Wow. So there you have it. Our deep dive into Fyodor Dostoyevsky's The Idiot. We've touched on his huge ambition, walked through the basic story, met some truly unforgettable characters, unpacked those heavy themes, and hopefully appreciated a bit of his unique artistry. We really hope you feel like you've got a good handle on this masterpiece now and why it still matters without having to, decipher all 700 pages yourself right away.
And it may be a final thought to chew on, something Dostoevsky leaves us with. If he was trying to show us this perfectly good man, maybe the real lesson isn't just about what happens to Myshkin himself, his fate. Maybe it's about the world around him, the societal conditions that decide whether someone like that can even flourish. So the question back to you is, what kind of world would we need to build for true goodness to actually thrive?
That is a powerful question to end on. It really makes you think. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. As always, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning. There's always more to learn.